Welcome back, viewers. আমাদের ডিসকাশনে we were taking political opinions. আমরা মনিবের কাছ থেকে শুনছি. We will hear from Councillor Mijan Chaudhry. Councillor Chaudhry, do you have a political opinion from your experience that you would like to discuss or has touched your mind?
Not specifically a political opinion, but I'm concerned about what's happening right now. We're in a difficult situation financially. We haven't quite recovered. We've had our double-dip recession. But what sort of struck my mind is, and it's been covered in the news as well, about the housing prices going up, especially in London. In the last few months, 9.5% increase. And also a lot of foreign investment coming in. But at the same time, we don't have enough houses for sort of local people or people that are needy of houses. It's very unaffordable. Also, a lot of the houses that used to be offices, for example, in 1920s, a lot of the dwellings that were turned into offices now, you'll see they're being reconverted again into proper houses, each of them selling well over 5, 6, 7 million. A lot of the embassies are being converted back to houses. So I have a concern about a normal, sort of honest, average working person who wants to make a good living, has a dream of buying their first house. It's going to be quite difficult for them.
But could it be that there's a demand in housing? That's why most of the offices are converting into.
There certainly is a demand.
And I think one of the government's office in close to the palace is going to be turned into
as well.
an office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Councillor mentioned the foreign investment. Is it good for country? Do you think is going to give you good housing, or which will help us for economy?
The reason we have, I think, a lot of foreign investment in sort of developments is because there's a demand for it. If there's a demand for it as a business person, as a company, they think, okay, London's the market now. If we invest, then obviously there'll be a huge return. But it's good.
Is it good for country or good?
It's good in terms of they'll be paying their fair share of tax. But on the other hand, we are losing out.
I mean, Abdus Bhai, do you think that we should be worried about the government is doing help to buy mortgages, and they're encouraging a lot of people to buy?
Yeah, I think it's a very good point that Mizan Bhai touched on. I think it's a very important point, but I would disagree with him on a certain particular level. I mean, in terms of the economy not doing well, I would disagree to a certain degree. I mean, GDP is slightly up, which is a major initiative for us. The current government introduced a new governor for the Bank of England, who put in certain measures. Unemployment is slowly creeping down. Inflation recently has also gone down. In terms of exactly for that particular point, there we have a housing. The government introduced help to buy so that it could help the average person to get on the housing ladder, and we've seen that the take-up of help to buy has significantly increased. Yes, of course, it will have a ripple effect on the price of housing, but we're in a catch-22 situation.
I'm mindful of the time, so I'm going to quickly take an opinion from Munibay, and then we're going to go into the main topic of this segment. Munibay, lot of আমাদের জেনারেশনের আমার দাদার বাবারা বা আমার আত্মীয় স্বজনরা অনেকেই রাইট টু বাইতে যারা বাড়ি কিনছে তারা এখন they are benefiting out of this increase of price, and government has given another £100,000 discount among help to buy. So what's the problem? Are you worried?
I'm a little worried because there are a lot of young people, they can afford to buy house. Government is helping. Trouble is this, those people who haven't got money to pay, they are just ordinary people. They don't have means to buy a house. What about them? Yeah, if you run down your council stock of properties, end of the day you won't be having any properties at all.
So do you think that those who are already on the ladder should help the others? যেমন আমার আব্বা যদি আমাকে হেল্প করে বা আমার ভাই যদি আমাকে হেল্প করে,
that is what should be happening.
Because you cannot catch up all the time to the house prices.
If I take this problem a bit in a bigger way, boom and bust, we have heard of that so many years. So I don't want to see another boom and bust. My concern is this: the economy is growing on property sector, based on property sector, not any other sector is growing.
Right. Munibhai, thank you for that note that we are actually moving forward with the economy, either be housing or taxation, manufacturing, but we're moving forward. শুধু দর্শক মণ্ডলী, আমাদের এই সেগমেন্টের মেইন টপিক হচ্ছে ইমিগ্রেশন। আপনারা জানেন যে ইমিগ্রেশন সম্বন্ধে বর্তমান গভর্নমেন্টের অনেক এজেন্ডা আছে এবং দেয়ার ম্যানিফেস্টো ছিল যে দে উইল কিপ দি নাম্বারস লো। এটা আপনার গভর্নমেন্টের একটা ম্যানিফেস্টোর একটা প্রমিস এবং দে হ্যাভ মেনটেইনড ইট সো ফার। এবং এটা নিয়ে অনেক আলোচনা এবং উত্থাপন হয়েছে এবং Theresa May had to go back and explain herself few times that why the UK border is not working properly and why the numbers are creeping up in certain areas. But overall, the immigration is একটা বিষয় যেটা আমাদের as a Bengali এবং BME person, it's close to our hearts. On the same time, একটা দেশ হিসাবে যে দেশেরও একটা রক্ষণাবেক্ষণের একটা ব্যাপার আছে, যে এই দেশে যদি ওভারক্রাউডেড হয়ে যায় বা ইলিগাল মাইগ্রেন্ট আসে তাহলে সেটার সম্বন্ধে কি করা হবে। আমরা সবাই প্রিটি মাচ অবগত আছি যে since the history of immigration and migration of human nature, যে আমরা এটা নিয়ে we try to go places and we try to better ourselves. আমরা বিগত কিছুদিনে আমরা যেটা দেখছি যে I did not know before, but recently I've read that since 1980, just within the European Union, there has been 24 general amnesties, and the most of it has been Spain, Portugal, Italy. Italyতে কিছুদিন আগেও দিছে. So there are, it's not only England or America যে আপনার looking at immigration, giving amnesties. এই country অনেক amnesty দিছে। আপনার in the 1930s লোকজনকে নিয়ে আসছে to build up the rails. In 1945, after the war, they had brought immigration again. বাইরে থেকে লোক নিয়ে আসছে, আসো আমাদের সাথে কাজ করো, হাউস বিল্ডিং এটা ওইটা কাজের জন্য। And then recently আপনারা দেখছেন যে একদিক দিয়ে Theresa May বলতেছে যে we need to keep the numbers low. But on the other hand, David Cameron has gone to China and saying, come over to our country and invest your money. So China gets India gets bringing IT people and the Chinese money and the immigrants into our country. So is the government saying no to immigration, or are they saying that we should have a proper positive immigration? Mizan Bhai, what do you think? We should have a positive immigration, or?
I think it's difficult to set a limit to immigration because Britain being the country it is, it allows sort of other people from other countries, if they're in difficulty, for this to be a safe haven for them. And the current pressure I think we have on immigration is not because of a lot of foreigners coming over, it's more because of the European countries. And the shortage we have in the market is jobs, and when local people or people that have been born and brought up here, they don't have a job, and they see an European or another person from another country is doing the same job and they don't even have a job, but they don't get a lower price, it's difficult for them to get into the job market. So in that sense, I think we shouldn't generalize a certain community or just blame it, but it's a difficult one to sort of control. But
sure,
obviously some sectors we need specialist work to be done,
sure,
in terms of construction. I think this is where the Polish construction workers, a lot of them came in. At some point at the NHS you needed a lot of doctors. You've probably seen a lot of Malaysians or Indians who have come in. So depends what's needed.
Yeah.
But if there's a genuine reason for somebody to be in UK, then they should be allowed.
Right. So you're saying legally, if you're here, and then if you're finding the work, fair enough. But if you're not here legally, you're not contributing properly, then that should be looked at. Is that what you're saying?
No. I think so. There need to be better systems in place to ensure we don't have illegal people.
When you say better system, is it the border system, or is just people coming over through tourists and?
Well, a lot of the people that come in, they come in by many means. A lot of them come through the sea. A lot of them come through sort of hiding in a truck somewhere,
sure,
all over the world. But if they're legally allowed to be here, then they should be here. If they've got a political reason, if their life is in danger in their own country, then they should be allowed to come in here.
But at the point when they come to the border, let's say they have a tourist visa or a student visa or a spouse visa, yeah, they're all equally eligible to come into the country at the point because they've got the right visas. It's when certain people like the students, they can extend, the spouse is here to stay, and the tourist is here only for tourism and then should go. And those are the people that are mostly not likely to, are not returning. And that's where the problem is, that there's no monitoring system. Would you agree that, that the legal side of it is all good, that come in, have your education, or stay with your spouse, but the ones that are overstaying and not contributing and not helping, would you think that should be looked at more closely? On the other hand, can I just add that, you talked about the European Union. If I say that, my cousin that lives in Italy and is now coming here to work, isn't that good?
It's not a problem, but I think the point I was trying to make is a lot of people that were sort of born here, and because of the current austerity we have and a lot of other things that are not happening according to their wish, when they see a foreigner doing very well, they feel depressed, and when they're depressed they do other stuff, the family breakups, racism increases, a lot of other things we could go into. But if they're legally allowed to be here, then yes. But also there's a lot of pressure on the services, not just jobs.
That's true.
A lot of the council services, for example, has a lot of pressure. For example, Tower Hamlets, we've had an increase of almost 50,000 people that have moved in here in the last 10 years. There's sort of possibility there's going to be tens of thousands more coming in.
And then you have to find 10%,
there's not a limit.
10% savings.
Yeah, so all of that comes into account. But again, the point you were making about how do we better monitor the sort of people sort of overstaying who legally are not supposed to be here. I think if it was tackled at a local level, a borough-wide level, the stricter immigration, then maybe they could have controlled. But obviously, people take a chance. So as long as they could hide around and do a job here and there, a lot of the businesses also employ those people because they make a saving.
Sure.
So where does the blame lie? If there was no opportunities for them to work as an illegal person in this country, then maybe they wouldn't be here.
Sure.
So it's a tricky one to touch on because it's quite sensitive as well.
Recently, I think it was early this year, that the government has given 80,000 immigrants the legality to stay, and they were under human rights, which was directed by the European Union. And some of them are getting their letters as we speak. Some of them will get it in the near future, but there's about 80,000 that got it. And on the other hand, I mean, as Councillor Chaudhry said about the European unions, the other unions are coming in here to work. Because of the recession, they're more in a bad shape than us. Do you think, taking all this in account, our immigration should be capped?
Let's divide this discussion up into two. Just touching back on Ms. Anbai's point, which he made very eloquently, and I agree with as well. Let's not dwell on. Let's keep the immigration for non-European Union members out of the situation. In terms of EU immigration, that has steadily increased, and it is due to increase next year as well, where Romanians will also be allowed to come in. Now, if we politicize the discussion a little bit further, that is something that is completely out of the government's hand. However, Conservative Party is the only party that is doing something or will be doing something about it. I'm not talking about how. If the Conservative Party comes into power again in the next election, it is the only party out of both Labour and Lib Dem who have said that they will give a referendum to the people of United Kingdom, giving us the opportunity to vote whether we want to be in the European Union or whether we want to be out of the European Union. If we vote to be out of the European Union, then immigration for those European members becomes a level playing field. We can then basically restrict and say, okay, well, we don't want people from Italy or we don't want people from Romania, because this is something we have quite a bit of gripe about. The Labour Party will never ever allow a referendum. The Lib Dems will never ever allow a referendum. It is Conservative Party is the only party that is actually giving this referendum, so that you have a choice. We have a choice where we can say that yes, we want to be part of Europe, or well, no, we don't, and then we can dictate